Hello, and thank you for taking a moment to review the high deductible healthcare plan that is eligible for you to create a health savings account. You may have heard some rumors about this plan, and here's where you can get the facts of this plan. We hope that you find it informative and that you also know that you are required to complete an educational component that is associated with this plan. These here are your insurance terms. I encourage you to take a minute to pause the video and read through these. They will help you immensely as you try to understand all the highlights of this particular plan that we'll be reviewing in further detail in just a few moments. These are your prescription drug facts and terminology. I encourage you to pause the video here and read through here so you get a better understanding of how the prescription drug card works for the plans that we offer here at Misericordia. Here we have the metallic level coverage under the Affordable Care Act. The high deductible healthcare plan is the bronze plan. If you're familiar with the Olympics, the bronze, I think, is the lowest medal that you can be awarded. The bronze has the least value, so that's why it gets the bronze branding. For comparison, the EPO plan that we offer is the platinum plan because it is the highest value plan. And when you think about the highest value, it's going to have the highest cost, so highest premiums. So with the bronze, it has the least amount of value, so it has the lowest premiums. And here we have the high deductible healthcare plan review. So I do encourage you to know your terms. This plan works just like all the other plans, it's just the amounts that are different. So because of that, we want to make sure that you really understand what you're getting into if you sign up for this plan. It's not going to be for everybody, and that's just fine. But for some people, it's the right plan for them. So we'll focus here on the fact that this plan also uses the Blue Cross Blue Shield of Illinois PPO network and National PPO network. It's the largest, most accepted insurance plan in all of Chicago. So employee-only coverage, there you can see it's $48.29. Employee spouse, you just need to remember that the spouse needs to be your legal spouse. At the time of signing up, you do not need to show proof of a marriage certificate. However, if we get audited, which we do once a year, your name could be pulled and we may have to collect a marriage certificate from you to prove that we are allowing only eligible people to enroll in the plan. Employee children, just keep in mind here that we allow enrollment for your adopted child, your biological child, and your stepchild. Unfortunately, we are not allowed to insure foster children or children that you might have temporary guardianship for. And then we have employee family coverage. That means spouse and a child. So also want to remind you of the employee cost and the employer cost on an annual basis. You can see there that Misericordia pays the greater portion of this premium for you. And this year we also want to make sure that everybody knows that we have 27 pay cycles in 2020 because of it being a leap year. So while we experienced a 10% increase on our premiums, we do not see that impact as bad because of the extra payroll cycle to help defray the cost. So now let's move into the meat and potatoes of this particular plan. Remember, the deductible is what you have to pay prior to the insurance carrier making any payment. And this plan does have in and out of network benefits, but you just need to remember that those networks work independent of one another. If you meet your in-network, you still have to meet your out-of-network. They do not combine. So the co-insurance for this plan is the highest that we have for any plan. Once you've met that deductible, rather than with the other plans, the insurance carrier pays 80%, this plan pays 90%. So you're only responsible for 10% of everything after you have met your deductible until you reach that last $2,000. Because looking at individual enrollment here, that $3,000 is subtracted from the $5,000 and you're left with a $2,000 out-of-pocket limit. Remember that when you go and see your primary care physician or a specialist, you're required to pay for all of the appointment until you meet your deductible, and then you're just paying 10% of everything. Same with urgent care, diagnostic labs and x-rays. But remember, with adult preventative care and well child care, thanks to the Affordable Care Act, those services are covered at 100%. If you go to the emergency room, you are required to pay the deductible and then 10% of after everything. And then chiropractic services, same theory applies there. With your prescription drug coverage, once you've met your deductible, you actually have co-pays with this plan. So just take a moment there and see if this plan is right for you. You're wondering, how can I pay for this $3,000 deductible? Well, that's where a health savings account comes in, and I encourage you to watch the associated video and follow the QR code that is related to that, or the clickable link. Here's a sample of the questionnaire that we require for you to complete in order to enroll in this plan. I'll just pause here for a second if you want to pause the video, and you can read through this to get a little bit more information. But just as a reminder, if I do not receive the questionnaire for this particular plan, I will not be able to accept your enrollment. Please see me with any questions you have with regard to this. The questionnaire can be picked up at Devon Reception or downloaded from the ADP app. Okay, let's take a closer look at this questionnaire. First, we need to make sure you put your name on it, and you'll also want to note that the questions are all the way over in that fourth column, and we'll review each section on here to make sure that you understand how a high deductible healthcare plan works and what its association is with a health savings account. So what are two services that a high deductible can be applied to? If you said x-rays, CAT scans, labs, durable medical equipment, you are correct. What can you open to cover these expenses? A health savings account. A health savings account is designed to allow you to put pre-tax dollars into an account, which will hopefully provide you with a debit card, and you can take care of that high deductible with money that you put in your health savings account. The money you put in the health savings account is put in there pre-tax. You do not pay taxes on it while it's saved in there, and you do not pay taxes when you spend it, and the money is yours for as long as you have the account. You do need to make note, though, that the only way you can make deposits into a health savings account is while you're enrolled in a high deductible healthcare plan. So let's look at the coinsurance. When do you start paying the coinsurance? After you have met your deductible. Same question with regard to coinsurance. For in-network, what percent of the coinsurance is your responsibility? If you said 10%, you are correct. Out-of-pocket limit. How much of the out-of-pocket limit is left after you have met the in-network deductible for both individual and family enrollment? So you are going to be subtracting how much is the out-of-pocket limit left after you have met the in-network deductible for both family and individual. So we're going to subtract $3,000 from $5,000, and we're going to subtract $6,000 from $10,000, and that gives us $2,000 left of the out-of-pocket for individual and $4,000 left for family. With regard to going to visit your primary care physician or specialist, if you have not met your deductible, how much of the doctor's office visit are you responsible for? And here on the questionnaire, you're going to circle the best answer. So you've not met your deductible and you go to a doctor or a specialist. You are responsible for 100% of the cost. But remember, if you have been putting money in your health savings account, you can use your debit card associated with that account to pay for those fees. With urgent care, if you have met your deductible, how the urgent care visit are you responsible for? If you've met your deductible, how much of the urgent care visit are you responsible for? If you said 10%, you're right. And With regard to any diagnostics, labs, and x-rays, when do you stop paying for these services? After you have met your C, out-of-pocket limit, is when you stop paying for these services. So if you're an individual, you will have had to pay your $3,000 deductible and the remaining $2,000 of your out-of-pocket limit. And remember, that last $2,000, you're only paying 10% of every service. So it could take you a while, but you're only paying 10%. And remember, if you've opened that health savings account, you can use those funds to pay for any services. Next, let's look at emergency room. I pay all of this visit until I have met my deductible. Is that true or false? True. You're responsible for everything until you have reached that deductible, and then after you've met the deductible, you pay 10% of everything until you've reached your out-of-pocket max. For chiropractic services, after you have met your deductible, you only pay 10% for each visit until you have reached your out-of-pocket limit. Is that true or false? That's true. For prescription drugs and their tiers here, in what instance, not tiers, excuse me, with regard to 30-day supply and 90-day supply, in what instance should you consider the 90-day supply option? So is 90 days good for a one-time antibiotic or a pain med, or is the 90-day good for routine medications? If you said A, routine medications, you're correct. Prior to meeting your deductible, you're responsible for 100% of the cost of all medications. Is that true or false? That's true. You are 100% responsible for all medications until you've met your deductible. With regard to brand formulary and brand non-formulary, after you've met your deductible, you are only responsible for the co-pays associated with the medications you are prescribed. Is that true? So this means that you would have to pay $3,000 for any services, and then you would only be responsible for the co-pays. Let's see, is that true? Yes, that is true. Opening and using a health savings account is your responsibility. Will Misericordia help you open that account? Will the insurance carrier help you open that account, or is that your responsibility? That's your responsibility. 100% your responsibility. You can be enrolled in any plan to open a health savings account. Is this true? Will the EPO allow you to open a health savings account? Will the low PPO allow you? Will the high PPO Gold allow you to open a health savings account? Or is it just the high deductible health care plan that allows you to open a savings account? False. That's right. You can only be enrolled in the high deductible health care plan to open a health savings account. So, which bank do you have to use for a health savings account? Do you have to go to Chase, Fifth Third, or can you just go to a bank of your choice? You can go to a bank of your choice. Although it is not a requirement, it is highly recommended to open a health savings account when you're enrolled in an HDHP. Is that true? Well, I would think maybe that it's true, since you have to pay for that first $3,000, and where you're going to get it otherwise. I think it is recommended that you open a health savings account. That is true. So if you could, put your name at the top of this questionnaire, date it, and sign it, and you need to turn that in for your enrollment into this plan will be approved. Thank you for participating in this review. We really appreciate it. If you have any questions about this, I do want you to approach me. I don't want anybody enrolling in this plan that it's not good for. It may be good for you, it might not be good for you. It's not the perfect plan for everybody. This plan is aimed towards people that don't go to the doctor a lot, don't have a lot of medical expenses, because while you have a very low premium, you can be socking money away in that health savings account for when the time comes that you do have some high medical costs. You'll have money in that health savings account to help take care of that high deductible and the out-of-pocket limit. As I said, if you have any questions, I welcome you to contact me, and that questionnaire can be turned in to Devon Reception. Anybody up there can take it, and you just need to know that if you elect that high deductible healthcare plan and I don't have record that you've completed this questionnaire, I will not be able to accept your enrollment. So I appreciate your cooperation with regard to that. Thank you.